Good morning, Year 11, and welcome today to your conflict and tension walkthrough for question 4 on the conflict and tension paper. Now, as always, what we're going to look to do is we are going to look to do the very first part of any question, which is analyse the question. And that involves reading through it and understanding what the question is asking us to do. If you haven't already, what I would advise you doing is watching the question 4 overview, which is also on this channel, because this looks at a specific question, whereas that will give you an overview of what to expect and what questions they can ask you. So this question that we're looking at is actually from a past paper. Now the difference here with analysing this question is that alongside what you usually do in terms of reading, asking what part of history is the question asking us, asking what is the rest of the question asking you about, you also need to take your time to plan. It is crucial that you take at least 4 minutes to plan your answer. So here we can see the question. I'm just going to read it out for you. The invasion of Poland was the main cause of the Second World War. How far do you agree with this statement? Explain your answer. 16 marks. So this question is worth 16 marks. Now, before we go on to kind of analysing the question, I do just want to focus on timings, okay? Because in the other videos, I've just told you what the timing should be for the questions. This allows us to spend more time on this question and give us planning time as well. So ultimately what I'm looking at here, and previously I've kind of given you an overview, but I'm just going to write it at the top here, that question 1 should really be 5 minutes writing and 2 minutes reading through the source. Question 2 should really be, again, 12 minutes writing and 5 minutes reading through the source. Question 3 should be 12 minutes in total, including analysing the question. So this leaves us with 24 minutes for this question. So it gives us 24 minutes for this question. It's really important for 16 marks. And you are going to spend 4 of those minutes planning the question. If you plan really quickly, then get on with writing. But you have to take the time to plan. And you have to take it up to 4 minutes. And then 20 minutes, you are writing. That roughly gives you around 6 minutes for each paragraph. Now with a plan, that is more than achievable to do, because you've got everything you need in your plan to take and to use in your answer. If you feel like those 6 minutes aren't enough, those 6.5 minutes, whatever it equates to, you need to be able to look at cutting some time out. So for example, for your question 2, you might make it 3 minutes to read through the sources if you're a quick reader, to add 2 more minutes to this. You might also take 3 minutes to plan to save you an extra minute. It all kind of goes off your own timings. So these are suggestions, and really 24 minutes for this question is the minimum. Okay, so just taught you through the timings, and now what we need to do is actually go through the normal process. And the first thing we do is we read through the question. So the question says, the invasion of Poland was the main cause of the Second World War. How far do you agree with this statement? Explain your answer. So I know straight away I need to ask myself, what part of history is this question asking me about? And it's asking me about the causes of the Second World War. And what is the rest of the question asking me about? It's asking me about the invasion of Poland. So I know those are my two key parts. Now, we are going to take the time to plan out this answer. And we're going to use the triangle method. So I know whatever part of history the question is asking me about goes in the centre. So causes of World War II. And as you can see, I'm doing it shorthand. Now this, if I wasn't explaining it to you, would take me 2 minutes. So again, saving time on that plan. But because I'm explaining it to you, will seem like a lot longer time is used. So don't worry in the exam, because this will not take you that long, or shouldn't take you that long. So, the causes of World War II. I know that this is part of the question, and I also know that I've got to talk about and use 3 paragraphs. And I want to talk about the invasion of Poland, because that's part of the question. But I can also talk about 2 other things. Now, if you watched my overview, you'll know that this part of the question is asking me about the road to war. It's asking me about Hitler's aims and Schrammkopf, so the Saar plebiscite, the Rhineland, the Anschluss, the Munich crisis, the invasion of Czechoslovakia, the USSR making that pact with Nazi Germany towards the beginning of the Second World War, and finally the invasion of Poland. So ultimately what we're looking at here is using 2 examples that I know helped cause the Second World War and that I know in detail. Well, I know that the Rhineland, the remilitarisation of the Rhineland, was part of the reason why the Second World War happened. And I also know that the invasion of Czechoslovakia was another reason for the start of the Second World War. So I've got my 3 paragraphs here. And really, this kind of follows a structure of, your point, evidence, and your explanation. But ultimately, some people struggle with that. So what I always say is just, this will be your point. So, for example, the invasion of Poland. Tell me something about the invasion of Poland. Well, I know that they invaded Germany, invaded Poland. Perfect. So I know that Germany invaded Poland. That is in 1939, Germany invaded Poland. That's my example. And then once I've done that, I go in and say how Germany invading Poland caused the Second World War. And this is where I get my marks. So I could do this a number of times. So for example, and that might get me up, that will limit me to half marks. If I do this very detailed, it'll limit me to half marks. But I want to go inwards and talk about the causes of the Second World War. The same with the Rhineland. So with the Rhineland, right, what do I know about the Rhineland? Well, I know that Germany remilitarised and there was no opposition from Britain and France. And as you can see in my plan, I'm not writing out the whole thing, I'm doing it in shorthand, just so I understand what it's about. So right, I picked up some marks there, but how do I get really good marks? Well, explain how does this cause World War II? And finally, we've got the invasion of Czechoslovakia. Okay, why is this? Or tell me something about this. Well, previously in the Munich Agreement, they'd agreed not to invade or take any more land. And that was Germany who agreed. But they broke their promise. Okay, how then does this cause World War II? So the orange will get you, hopefully up to half marks if it's detailed, but you'll probably need to do a few more. But if you want your 9, 10, 11, 12, you've got to link it and explain with detail how it caused the Second World War. Now the last thing is, if you want those full marks, within your plan what you have to do is you have to think of your main reason. So which out of the invasion of Poland, the invasion of Czechoslovakia, the Rhineland was the most important reason for the cause of the Second World War? Now, to be able to pick kind of your main reason, you need to be able to link your orange points and examples together. Now, that is not as complicated as it sounds. So, for example, if we're talking about the Rhineland, we're talking about British and French weakness. So I'm going to add that in there, British and French weakness. And I'm going to say the main cause of the Second World War was British and French weakness. So remember, this is only for your level 4s. If you are not going for level 4, you do not need to worry about this. Okay, level 4s is your grade 9s. Okay? So, British and French weakness. That's my answer. That means this is my first paragraph. I start off with this. So, point, talk about my evidence, and then I explain how it caused the Second World War. After I do that, I would then go on to my second paragraph. So I might talk about the invasion of Czechoslovakia. So this is my second paragraph. The Munich Agreement, how it caused World War II. And then from here, I then take it and say, but without British and French weakness. So without British and French weakness, the invasion of Czechoslovakia might not have happened. So, well, why wouldn't it have happened? Well, Britain and France might have... And this is where you kind of get into a bit of alternative history. If Britain and France had been strong, they might have stopped the invasion. They might have never agreed to the Munich crisis, the Munich Agreement. Okay? And you do exactly the same with your last paragraph. Okay? So, talk about the invasion of Poland, how it caused World War II, and then you do an arrow to your answer. So, how does British and French weakness mean that the invasion of Poland went ahead, that it caused World War II? So what would have happened if Britain and France hadn't have been weak? Well, they might have been able to stop Hitler previously. They might have been able to keep the USSR on side, which means they wouldn't have been able to invade Poland. And that's literally it. That's my answer. So, again, just to reiterate, if you are going for a level 4, you have got to do the orange and the green. You've got to. If you're going for a higher mark, so the orange and the green will get you, your level 6s, up to level 6 and 7s. This here, the purple bit, your answer, that is only for the top marks. So if that looks too complicated, do not worry about that. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through what this looks like in your kind of exam and how to write these model answers. Now I am going to highlight at the side using the colours on my plan so you can see the development of each answer. So for the final links in the answer, I'm just going to highlight it in pink, okay? And in my answer, you will see how I end up linking the points together. So the first type of answer we're going to look at for this 16 marker is your level 1, your 1 to 4 marks. So for those of you that struggle with history, you're just trying to pick up the marks, this is going to kind of be what you guys need to do. And so before we look at this answer, I really want to kind of just talk you through or just mention really that you've got to use your plan. In any answer that you do for the 16 marker, you use your plan, whether you want 1 mark out of 16, whether you want 16 out of 16. So what you can see in front of you is your plan, or my plan that I did, and I know for 1 to 4 marks, I just need to talk about the orange bits, okay? I just need to talk about the orange bits and I will get 1 to 4 marks. But really we should, as a minimum, be picking up 4 marks out of 16 on this by just talking about those orange bits. So remember, in any answer, I am looking for tier 3 language, so keywords, detail, specific detail, so what? And for this 16 marker, I need to know about 2 things that I'm going to use the highlighted colour. So I need to know about the causes of World War II and how it caused World War II, and I need to know about the reasons that caused World War II. So let's start by having a look. I wrote the main cause of the Second World War was British and French weakness. Okay, so what I would do, I'd tick that off. If I'm using my plan, I go back and I say, right, brilliant, I've talked about British and French weakness. Okay, tick. What do I talk about now? Well, I've given myself an example of the Rhineland. So an example of British and French weakness was the Rhineland. So for example, Britain and France allowed Germany to remilitarise the Rhineland in 1936 without any opposition. So if I'm an examiner here, I can see they've used this word tier 3. Remilitarised is a tier 3, it's a key word. Rhineland in 1936 without any opposition. This is specific detail. Okay? And then I've just said, this led to World War II as Hitler gained before I go on to that, I can just see there now that I've talked about the reason. I've talked about the reason. That is enough for me to pick up 2, 3 marks, okay, on its own. Simple as that. Now what I have done is just wrote a very basic sentence after, and it said this led to World War II as Hitler gained confidence and invaded more countries. Now a lot of you will do this and you'll think that's enough, but it's not enough. That will probably pick you up 1 mark if you're lucky, or 0 marks, okay, because it's just a very basic sentence. So again, if you see and you compare this to our plan that we did, you will see that I've talked about British weakness, I've talked about the Rhineland, and I've gone on to give an example of British and French weakness, okay, which was them allowing Germany to remilitarise the Rhineland. And then what I need to do, just for your level 1, I need to go to another part of my answer, so either the invasion of Czechoslovakia or the invasion of Poland. So I wrote another cause of the Second World War was the invasion of Czechoslovakia. Okay, tick. I'm going to underline invasion of Czechoslovakia. What do I know about the invasion of Czechoslovakia? Well, for example, Hitler promised not to invade any more countries if he was given the Sudetenland. Okay, tick. Detail. So again, you're telling me about the reason. And then Hitler invaded the Sudetenland. Again, true. Detail. So I've told the examiner about another reason, another cause. And again, I've just gone on to write 1 sentence. This led to World War II starting. This caused World War II, as Hitler was seen as untrustworthy, so Britain and France had to go to war to stop him. Again, a very basic sentence, but you are still kind of linking it towards why World War II happened, why this caused World War II. So why Hitler kind of invading the Sudetenland caused World War II. So what you can see here, again, there's detail and it's hitting more about the reason. Okay. And then you've got another reason, and again, you can keep going with these reasons. Don't be afraid to write down as many reasons as you can to get 1 to 4 marks. So, a final cause of World War II was the invasion of Poland. In September 1939, Germany and Russia invaded Poland, and Britain and France reacted by declaring war on Germany. I would say that specific detail because it mentions Germany and Russia invading Poland, and Britain and France reacting by declaring war. So it's the amount of countries, it's the knowledge that it wasn't just Germany and Britain. So again, what you'll see is you will see us linking to the reason, and again, a very basic sentence about how this caused World War II. So this led to World War II starting as countries were now at war. So again, this is what's going to get you 4 marks. That will get you 4 out of 16 marks. You are all capable of doing that. Even if you ignore the green bit, you'll still pick up 4 marks there. The green bit is just to solidify the 4 marks, okay? So you can all do that. Now what you'll see is what it's missing to get to kind of that next level is the so what. It's missing this so what here. And it's missing detail as well from the so what because you've not done it. So that is how we go and get and improve our answer. And that's what we're going to look at in the next section of our. Now I would say just before I move on that although I did say this was level 1, so the orange bits here are level 1. This is what will get you your 4 marks. The green bit, even though it's very basic, will boost you up to level 2. So this would boost you to 5 marks, okay, maybe 6 marks. If it's the detail, if you've got good detail in there, okay? So now what we're going to look at is we're going to look at how to get our paragraphs to a level 3 standard, how to get 9 to 12 marks, out of 16. So how to get 9 to 12 marks out of 16. And again, what's important here is for level 3 and level 4, so from anywhere from 9 marks all the way to 16 marks, you need to have the following in your answer. So you're going to have keywords, you're going to have detail, and you're going to have specific detail. You're going to have so what, and your sentences need to follow on as well. So I'll just add that there, follow on. And also ultimately what we need specifically for this question is the fact that you're going to need to talk about and see one of the reasons or the reasons, which is going to be highlighted in orange, and the green is kind of your explanation. So what part of history it's talking about, so how it caused the Second World War. And you'll see that highlighted on your sheet. So what you'll also see in this answer is the fact that it follows this plan. So I am going to talk about British and French weakness. I'm going to give you the example of the Rhineland, and I'm going to say how that caused World War II. I'm going to talk about the invasion of Czechoslovakia. I'm going to talk about the Munich Agreement as well, and how this caused World War II. I'm going to talk about the invasion of Poland and how this caused World War II following that plan. So to start with, I start by saying the main cause of the Second World War was British and French weakness. And I underline British and French weakness because I need an example of this. Tell me something about this. Well, for example, Britain allowed Germany to remilitarise, Tier 3 term, the Rhineland in 1936 without any opposition. I would say that's specific detail because I've used the word remilitarise, talked about the Rhineland, specific date as well. So what you'll see here is I have given a reason or a cause of World War II starting, for the outbreak. So we're given a reason for the outbreak of World War II here. Now what I need to do now is I need to underline something that's important. I've picked opposition. I'm going to say, so what? So what if they invaded the Rhineland without opposition? How did this cause World War II? So I said, well, this caused the Second World War because before this, Hitler lacked confidence because his army was untested. So that's true. However, after this, so after the Rhineland, Hitler gained confidence as his army had successfully remilitarised the Rhineland without a shot being fired and clearly broken the Treaty of Versailles and not faced any consequences. So again, there's detail running throughout that, and this begins to talk about how it caused World War II. So the fact that Hitler has gained confidence. And this here is level 2. If you did this, you're stuck in kind of your 5 to 8 marks. However, if you manage to do this next bit, you'll get to your 9 to 12. So you need to think, right, so what if Hitler gains confidence? How does that lead to the Second World War starting? So I've said, well, Hitler gained confidence led to the Second World War because it meant Hitler felt he would not be stopped in continuing to take land. So what if he would not be stopped, or he felt that? This led to Germany invading Czechoslovakia and Poland, meaning Britain and France had to react, which began the Second World War. So that right there is again talking about how it caused World War II, and it reaches us to level 3. Now I need to do something like this 3 times to hit that level 3 target to get 12 out of 16. Okay, so that's my first paragraph done. So my second paragraph. Another cause of the Second World War was the invasion of Czechoslovakia. Okay, tell me about the invasion of Czechoslovakia. Well, this was where Hitler promised not to invade any more countries if he was given the Sudetenland, but he invaded Czechoslovakia anyway. Okay, perfect. But so what if he had promised not to invade, but then invaded Czechoslovakia? So I'm thinking here, so what? So what if Hitler has done this? So I've talked about a reason for the outbreak of World War II, I've given details, and now I'm thinking, so what? Well, this caused the Second World War because before this, Hitler was trusted and seen as righteous due to Hitler wanting to reunite German-speaking people, which uniting with the Sudetenland did. So I'd say that's some specific detail there. I've then gone on to say, however, after this, so after the invasion of Czechoslovakia, Hitler was seen as untrustworthy, as Czechoslovakia had no German-speaking people, so it was clear Hitler wanted to take over as much land as possible. So again, saying or beginning to say how this caused World War II, talking about the before and the after, which is a really nice way of developing your answer. However, now we need to link it directly to the Second World War, and it's the fact that Hitler is untrustworthy. So if he's untrustworthy, how then does that lead to the Second World War? So what if he's untrustworthy? Well, it led to poor relations, so poor friendship between Britain, France and Germany, with Britain realising their appeasement policy was wrong. So what if it was wrong? Well, this led to Britain abandoning their policy of appeasement. So what if they've abandoned it? Well, it's meant that Britain was now willing to stop Germany. Perfect. This then led to Britain undergoing rearmament. So what if Britain are rearming? Well, this meant Britain's army would be ready to fight, meaning Britain was ready for war and would be willing to go ahead with war. So again, now linking specifically to the Second World War. So we've got our level 2 here, and we are reaching our level 3 here. But remember, we still need to do one more paragraph that's like this. So what you'll see here is a final cause of the Second World War was the invasion of Poland. Tell me about the invasion of Poland. In September 1939, Germany and Russia invaded Poland, and Britain and France reacted by declaring war on Germany. Okay, so right there, there's some detail. I've told you about a reason, I told the examiner about a reason, and what I now need to go on to do is I'm going to underline something that I need to talk about in the next part of my sentence, how it led to the Second World War. So, ultimately, how does declaring war lead to the Second World War? Well, this caused the Second World War because before this, Britain and France were not at war with Germany. True. However, after this, Britain and France were at war with Germany. So that is also true, but I'm going to add some more detail. After coming to the aid of Poland due to the Anglo-Polish agreement that they had made. So that's some specific detail there. Okay. So I also need to underline this here. I need to think, okay, so what if they'd made the Anglo-Polish agreement? Well, this meant Britain did not have a choice but to go to war with Germany and Russia and start the Second World War, as they had to fulfill their agreement to Poland. So again, just a very brief paragraph explaining how the invasion of Poland led to the Second World War. So just to go back to what you need to do, and it's at the top of this sheet here that I'm going to put in front. Keywords, detail, so what, and making sure it's followed on. And if you see a little bit of information about a reason and the most focus on the part of history, so how it caused World War II, the centre of that triangle. So if I go back to my plan, if I look at the ratio, my paragraph should be 1/3 orange, 2/3 the part of history, which is what caused World War II. So what we're going to look at now is how to get those level 4 marks, 13 to 16 marks, which is more than achievable on conflict and tension. Now to do this, we're going to use our plan, as we did previously, but the difference here is we're going to add in the pink bits. Now the difference between level 3 and level 4 is that after you kind of explained how your orange bit caused World War II, you then need to link it to your main factor. So for this answer, what you'll see is that I've said the main reason for the Second World War was British and French weakness. Now, when I argue that the invasion of Czechoslovakia also caused the Second World War, I will then go back at the end to British and French weakness. So the end of that paragraph, I'll go back to British and French weakness and say, well, actually though, this also backs up my main argument about British and French weakness because, and I'll do the same with the invasion of Poland. I'll say the invasion of Poland, that caused World War II because, however, it also links with British and French weakness because, and that's how you get your top marks. So you'll see us following this plan and how we go about doing it. So what you'll see in the writing is exactly the same as kind of your level 3 if you watch level 3. So it's, you need keywords, detail, so what, follow on. You need to talk about reasons why World War II starts, or reasons why World War II started, and how this meant or how it led to World War II starting. Now the only thing that will be different here will be the pink highlighted bit, which is your level 4, which is your link to your answer. So I start off by saying the main cause of the Second World War was British and French weakness. Okay, so first of all, as an examiner, I can see straight away this is going to be their argument, the main cause. Okay, they've said the main cause is British and French weakness, so I should see this in every paragraph. So what so I'm looking now for an example of British and French weakness. So in this answer they've talked about, for example, Britain and France allowed Germany to remilitarise the Rhineland in 1936 without any opposition. Now I've given that specific detail because they've used the word remilitarise, they've used a specific date, and you've used the word Rhineland. Now all this is a reason for why the Second World War starts. I now need to say how the Rhineland meant that World War II starts. And I'm going to underline the word opposition. So what if Germany faced no opposition? How does that lead to World War starting in another 3 years? Well, this caused the Second World War because before this, Hitler lacked confidence because his army was untested. That is correct. However, after this, Hitler gained confidence as his army had successfully remilitarised the Rhineland without a shot being fired and clearly broken the Treaty of Versailles and not faced any consequences. So for me here, this is very detailed because he's used the word remilitarised, they've used without a shot being fired, broken the Treaty of Versailles, not faced consequences, lots of detail there. Now, this here is beginning to talk about how this meant the Second World War started, but it's level 2 and it's not reaching level 3 yet because remember we go up, so we've got level 1 in the orange, which is your 1 to 4 marks, level 2 is your 5 to 8. To go further from this, you need to tell me how something in here means World War II starts in 3 years. So I'm going to underline Hitler gaining confidence. So what if Hitler gaining confidence here in 1936 means that war starts in 1939? Well, Hitler gaining confidence led to the Second World War because it meant Hitler felt he would not be stopped in continuing to take land. Okay, so what if he's not going to be stopped? Well, this led to Germany invading Czechoslovakia and Poland, meaning Britain had to react and begin the Second World War. So that right there is enough to get into level 3. Because I've linked the Rhineland, I've linked Hitler getting confidence to saying, well, this confidence meant he's invaded Czechoslovakia and Poland, meaning that led to the Second World War. I want a little bit more information because remember I have said this is my main cause. So furthermore, the remilitarisation of the Rhineland caused the Second World War as it was a key strategic position that allows Germany to invade. So there I'm thinking, yeah, very detailed, key strategic position, lovely use of language, so invade France with ease. If Germany had not had this, Germany may have not invaded and the Second World War could have been averted. Absolutely. So this here is further explanation. Now if the explanation is this strong, this says to me that it becomes a level 4 paragraph at the end because this explanation here all follows on, it's very detailed, there's tier 3, it's level 4 and you've said it's your main cause. So I'm happy here that this is a level 4 paragraph. So, I'm now going to see this paragraph, second paragraph, says another cause of the Second World War was the invasion of Czechoslovakia. Okay, what do I know about Czechoslovakia? Well, for example, Hitler promised not to invade any more countries if he was given the Sudetenland, but then invaded Czechoslovakia anyway. So again, detail in both. They're telling me about a reason that the Second World War starts, and what I now need to do is I need to say, right, how does this lead to the Second World War? How does this in the late 1930s lead to war starting? Well, it's the fact that Hitler promised not to invade, so that's what we're going to talk about next, but he invaded Czechoslovakia. So this caused the Second World War because before this, Hitler was trusted as seen as righteous due to Hitler wanting to reunite German-speaking people, which uniting the Sudetenland did. So that there is specific detail. He wants to reunite German-speaking people. He's seen as trusted. He's seen as not wanting to go to war. However, after this, after the invasion of Czechoslovakia, Hitler was seen as untrustworthy. Well, why? As Czechoslovakia had no German-speaking people, so it was clear Hitler just wanted to take over as much land as possible. So that's a really, really strong explanation. And as before, you've got your level 1. This now reaches level 2. Now, I'm thinking here, so what though? So what if Hitler is seen now as untrustworthy? How does that lead to World War II? Because although you've said it here, this caused the Second World War, you need to expand on it, because at the minute you've not really made a clear explanation into how how him being untrustworthy causes the Second World War. So, Hitler being seen as untrustworthy led to poor relations between Britain and France and Germany, with Britain realising their appeasement policy was wrong. So this is specific detail. I've used the Tier 3 term appeasement. And so what if they realised that appeasement policy was wrong? Well, this led to Britain abandoning the policy of appeasement, meaning Britain was now willing to stop Germany. So what if Britain was willing to stop Germany? Well, this led to Britain undergoing rearmament. So what? Which meant Britain's army would be ready to fight, meaning Britain was ready to go to war and would be willing to go ahead with it. So here is a clear, really strong level 3. Again, linking why the invasion of Czechoslovakia led to the Second World War starting. Appeasement's out the door. They were willing to stop Germany. They were ready to fight because of rearmament. Now, to get level 4, I now need to link it to my main answer. Now, if I check my main answer, my main reason from my first paragraph was British and French weakness. So, however, without British and French weakness, the invasion of Czechoslovakia could have been stopped and war could have been averted. For example, after the Munich Agreement, Britain and France were weak as they did not foresee further German invasion. They trusted Germany and wanted to continue with their policy of appeasement. So right there, that is very, very detailed. Okay, it's saying, they didn't foresee German invasion. They trusted Germany. They wanted to continue with appeasement. But if Britain and France had not been weak, they could have mobilised their troops in defence of Czechoslovakia before Hitler invades. They could have realised that Hitler was lying. This would have given Hitler a clear message not to invade Germany, or not to invade, or Germany will be defeated, which meant Germany may have led to Germany not invading and the Second World War being stopped. So you can see the level of detail there, and it's just about making sure that you kind of explain how British and French weakness links to the invasion of Czechoslovakia. It's how your main argument links to the invasion of Czechoslovakia, and it does that really well here. If Britain and France had not been weak, they could have mobilised troops. So what if they could have mobilised troops? Clear message to Hitler. So what if he's been given a clear message? Well, it led to Germany not invading. So what if Germany doesn't invade? Second World War stops. And then this here turns the answer into level 4. And finally, you'll see the following. So it says, a final cause, so the third paragraph, a final cause of the Second World War was the invasion of Poland. In September 1939, Germany and Russia invaded Poland, and Britain and France reacted by declaring war on Germany. So we've got detail there. It tells us about a reason. I'm now thinking, right, so what if Britain and France have declared war on Germany? How does that lead to the Second World War? Well, this caused a Second World War because before this, Britain and France were not at war with Germany. Absolutely true. However, after this, Britain and France were at war with Germany after coming to the aid of Poland due to the Anglo-Polish agreement they had made. Now that is specific detail because it's using the Anglo-Polish agreement in there, so it's chucked some more information in. Now again, this here is kind of your level 2, so your 5 to 8 mark paragraph. So we've got our level 1, we've got our level 2. So we want level 3 next. So what if they've made this Anglo-Polish agreement? Well, this meant Britain and France, Britain did not have a choice but to go to war with Germany and Russia and start the Second World War as they had to fulfill their agreement. Now, this would probably sneak into just low level 3, which is fine, because there's not loads to say on the invasion of Poland. But to boost it into high level 3 and then level 4, it would be linking it back to your main answer. So my main answer was British and French weakness. So how does British and French weakness link with the invasion of Poland? Well, however, without British and French weakness, the invasion of Poland in the Second World War may have been stopped. For example, the USSR had abandoned the Franco-Soviet Pact and the Stresa Front because of Britain and France appeasing Germany. So this is specific detail, okay? Franco-Soviet Pact, Stresa Front. Now, so what if the USSR had abandoned Britain and France, basically, for Germany? Well, this meant that the USSR signed the Nazi-Soviet Pact, which allowed Germany to invade Poland without going to war with the USSR. But if Britain and France had not shown weakness, the USSR may have continued to ally themselves with Britain and France. So what if the USSR had continued to ally themselves with Britain and France? Well, this meant that Germany would not have invaded Poland as they couldn't handle attacks from Britain and France and the USSR. Well, so what if they wouldn't have invaded Poland? Well, this would have stopped German advances, therefore stopping the potential for a Second World War. And that level of detail, that explanation, then makes it and turns it into a level 4